And we'll go ahead and start with this one. Poke it into the tail just a bit. And find out where it's going to meet the fuselage. Poke it in just a bit. And what I like to do a lot of times is rotate it, and it'll kind of get rid of the friction so it's not pulling the foam one way or another. You just want it rested in there. And before you start gluing, make sure that you're not pushing the foam over so it's staying 90 degrees, and also that it's staying straight. Okay, everything looks good. A little drop here, a little drop here. But basically it's the same process every time. You sharpen the ends. Make sure you do this symmetrically. Once you get started with this tail piece here, everything kind of self-lines up the rest of the way forward. Go ahead and give it a little bit of a twist. Frees up any friction. Go ahead and sight down it. Make sure everything is straight. And then go ahead and add your glue. Drop there. A little bit of a drop there. Go ahead and hit it with the accelerator. Get your next piece. Sharpen them up. And right where your last one ended on the fuselage, go ahead and poke there. Poke it in just, it can be, you know, a 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch in front of the old one, where the old one poked in. And then aim it right toward the fuselage cross brace, trying to put it right on the outside edge. Looks good. Nice and straight. Drops of glue. Go ahead and do the last two here, and maybe even flip it around so I can, I don't have to reach over the table as far. And I might even just go ahead and poke one in without gluing it, and get the other one poked in here without gluing it. Good. Go spin them. This side down it, everything's still straight. And go ahead and glue both of them in. And that weaves up the fuselage, so it's nice and stiff. And we'll give it a second to dry, and then we can flip it over. We'll go ahead and mount the aileron servo. We're probably going to go ahead and cut out the slots for the aileron horns now. You can see it's starting to get some rigidity to it, but it'll always be a delicate airplane. I mean, that's just the rule of thumb with indoor airplanes. They're a little bit delicate, but boy, they sure fly neat. We'll take our plywood horn pack and push rod standoffs, and this is actually a landing gear support for my pocket knife pipe. It's the same thing that goes in my pocket knife pipe, but we use that landing gear brace here as a measurement device for the landing gear on this airplane. Other than that, it's not put on the airplane. But you'll need to go ahead and cut through the tabs that are holding these guys in, and use your X-Acto knife, put it on the tab, wiggle your knife down a little bit. Don't worry about cutting all the way through. Just give it about 3 wiggles with a little pressure. Do it on all of them. Flip the piece over, do the same thing, and it'll, as soon as you go ahead and wiggle the knife in the slot on the second side, it'll pop out. Try to cut through all the way on the top. You'll have a tendency to delaminate the plywood. Go ahead and just wiggle it, pull it out, put the next one, wiggle. Every once in a while you'll cut one all the way through, but it's not your goal at this point. And flip it over. Now it'll pop out. Here's the 4 horns. Landing gear support. And the push rod standoffs. You want to take your 050 by 20-inch push rods and go ahead and make sure that the little push rod standoffs fit through there. They slide nice and freely. You may want to kind of, we'll just grab it and I'll just kind of round this thing out, and that way it'll kind of bevel the edges, and then that way it can slide even with a little bit of an angle to it. It's still sliding nicely. But you'll feel if you twist this little standoff as you're pushing it, all of a sudden it'll lock up and bind up. So it's important that it stays 90 degrees to it, at least within